Hey guys, welcome back to Craigz, a new horror channel on YouTube. Now, if this is your first time here, then please hit that subscribe button because we currently upload new videos every week and I'm really looking to grow this channel, so give us a subscribe and share the love. Okay guys, so Dead Silence, a 2007 American supernatural horror film directed by James Wan and written by Leigh Whannell. The film stars Ryan Kwanten as Jamie Ashen, a young widower returning to his hometown to search for answers to his wife's death. Now, I've always felt that this is actually an underrated horror movie. Whenever I ask my friends if they've ever seen this film called Dead Silence, they don't have a clue what I'm talking about. However though, whenever I do recommend this film to friends and they do go and watch it, they tell me that they absolutely end up loving it. If you're terrified of dolls, then this movie will definitely scare the pants off you. This film is full of them, around 101 dolls to be exact. Now, first things first, this film was directed by James Wan, who is a masterpiece of horror films. He went on to direct films like the Conjuring movies and Insidious, so this guy knows what he's doing when it comes to horror, so it should be no surprise that Dead Silence is indeed a very scary film. The music that is used in this movie is absolutely amazing. It's dark, creepy and dramatic. I often hear the theme of this movie being used in people's TikTok videos whenever they're doing like a video about paranormal stuff. So what makes this film so creepy? Well, as I've already said, there are a lot of creepy dolls in this film. Not only that, but whenever someone is about to die, everything around them goes silent. For example, when Jamie's wife Lisa is murdered at the start of the movie, she receives a parcel of a creepy doll. When Jamie goes to get some takeaway, Lisa is left alone with this doll, and then all of a sudden the music in the room that she's listening to starts to slow down and it eventually goes silent. The kettle on the stove does the same thing. Even the ticking of the clock goes silent. Lisa then hears some creepy laughing coming from the same room that the doll is in, and I'm not being funny, it's at that point she should have done a runner. But anyway, this is a horror film, so she's gonna go in to investigate, and it's not long before she ends up dead. Now, when somebody is killed in this movie, their tongues end up being ripped out. So after the death of his wife, Jamie goes back to his hometown, where we learn about the story of Mary Shaw. She basically had no children, only dolls. And during a flashback scene, we see Mary Shaw doing a ventriloquist show in front of a live audience. And when one of the children in the audience mocks Mary Shaw and her dolls, the boy later on goes missing. It turns out that Mary Shaw was later on murdered herself, and in her will, she was asked to be buried with all 101 dolls. Not only that, but she wanted to become a doll herself. Like, literally, this is the ultimate doll horror movie. There's actually a really creepy scene where a young Henry goes down to his father's mortuary to take a look at Mary Shaw. I mean, you know what kids are like. I can't say I would have done the same, but I have friends who definitely would have done this. So a young Henry goes down to take a look at the open coffin of Mary Shaw, and he ends up pulling the coffin on top of him when he falls over. And this is when we get to see a dead Mary Shaw that's been turned into a doll, and it's literally the stuff of nightmares. You definitely wouldn't want to see this in the middle of the night. Ryan Kwanten's character Jamie spends most of the movie trying to piece together this Mary Shaw puzzle. But things do come to a head when he ends up in the old theatre with Detective Lipton, who's been following Jamie around for most of the movie. And when they get to this old theatre, all of Mary's dolls are there, waiting for them. If that isn't creepy enough, then there is a clown rocking back and forth in a rocking chair, and that is one fucking scary looking clown doll. The clown doll then starts to talk to Jamie in a very scary voice, and even asks Jamie to come closer because this doll wants to whisper something in his ear. Like, why would you even do this? But of course, Jamie does do this, and then a massive tongue comes out of the doll and does a terrifying clown laugh before being grabbed by some demon ghost hands, which is of course Mary Shaw. When they try to shoot Mary, all of her 101 dolls start coming alive, and Jamie and the detective end up having to shoot them all, and they have to set fire to the theatre building. I think the most disturbing part of this movie for me is when Jamie and the detective find the body of the missing boy from all those years ago, and he's literally been turned into a doll, and it's just horrible. You actually see this young boy's dead body and his face, and I've said this in one of my other videos, it's not often you actually see the full dead body of a child, especially when it's being turned into a doll. Of course, there is a little twist at the end of this movie, and it turns out that Jamie's stepmom is actually Mary Shaw in disguise, and Jamie's dad is actually dead the entire time of the whole movie, and he's basically been turned into a human ventriloquist doll, and Jamie's stepmom has been miming his voice for the whole movie. It actually does sound quite ridiculous when I say it like this, but I was honestly gobsmacked when I first saw this moment in the movie. I was like, what the actual hell? For me, I think this is a great movie. I've seen it quite a few times, and it's scary, it's fun, it's dark, the music is fantastic, and I think this movie deserves a lot more credit. There are moments in this movie where I swear they use some similar sounds from the Saw movies. I think there was a scene where the grown-up Henry is stuck in the basement, and when he sees Mary Shaw's hand appear in the distance, I can remember thinking, I swear I've heard this sound before. I think it's from the Saw movie, and of course James Wan also directed Saw, so it's quite plausible. So is there anything that I didn't like in this movie? Well, not really, I'll be honest with you guys. I only wish that they had gone on to make a sequel, because I definitely think they could have been. There was never a resolution to this story, and everyone pretty much died, so I would have loved to have seen a Dead Silence Chapter 2. So what would I rate this movie out of 10? Well, at the time of this recording, Dead Silence has a score of 6.2 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database. And over on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an audience score of 51% and a tomato meter score of 21%, which is a big, massive shame. But for me personally, I am going to give Dead Silence a score of 7.5 out of 10. In my personal opinion, it's a great horror movie. It's full of horror atmosphere, the dolls are scary, I enjoyed the story, and there were some genuinely scary moments in this film. The twist at the end is a little bit goofy, but it does make your mouth drop, and the soundtrack is original and amazing. Like I said at the start of this video, I think Dead Silence is a really underrated horror movie, which I think is such a shame. But that is just my opinion. I now want to hear all of your opinions. Have any of you guys seen Dead Silence? If you have, then what are your thoughts on it? Did you enjoy it, or was it not your cup of tea? Let me know all of your thoughts and everything about this movie, and leave it in the comments box underneath this video. Okay guys, well if you're still here and you enjoy horror movie reviews, then why not check out my Scream 5 review? I'll put a link right at the top of the screen for you to click on right now. Okay guys, well thank you all for watching, make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe, and I'll see you all again very soon.